Far away in the Urals, a playful and restless dog named Bonya lived contentedly. She loved children and happily wagged her tail at the sightof people, but one day everything changed. The whole big family, including the restless dog, was resting at the cottage in the village. But now it's time to return. While loading things into the car, they forgot to close the gate.At that moment. From a strong gust of wind, the gate of the fence slammed sharply and Bonya jerked away from fright. They did not wait for her and, like many people, just left, leaving the dog somewhere in the frosty winter. The dog returned to the house an hour later and did not find his own. She ran all around the owners, but found no one. A family of drunks lived nearby. They noticed a dog wandering around and decided to take it away. Throwing a rope around the dog's neck, they dragged her to the house. There she was put on a short chain. Without a booth and without any bedding, the dog growled and rushed, only at one of their movements. Her barking prevented them from philosophizing, and everything that was at hand flew into Bonya. When they got bored, they teased the dog with food for a long time, setting the bowl far away so that she could not reach it on her short leash. At first she tried to pull away with all her might, but the links of the chain cut painfully into her neck, and she resigned herself. On one of these painful days, the owner decided to practice throwing darts on her. He smeared a lot, but also it was very painful for Bonya, but as soon as he came up to collect them, the dog rushed at the man, clung to his arm with sharp teeth. She got angry, broke off the chain and rushed at the man. He found a brick and began to fight back. The freed animal did not wait and escaped through the open gate. That I should have run away, only it was in the dog's head. After eating something in the local garbage, she went out on the highway, and now her entire journey for 100 kilometers consisted only of a long strip of asphalt. That it would seem that everything can go wrong. Everything terrible has already happened. She walked for a long time, slept on the side of the road and ate what she found. She didn't understand why she was abandoned, why she was being hurt so much, and what would happen next. About halfway through, after a few days of wandering, a hungry and cold dog was quietly dragging along the highway. The paws are frozen. The pads are bled and inflamed. Something is visible and making a lot of noise. Approaching quickly, probably another indifferent car, Bonya thought. Suddenly, unexpectedly, the bright light of the headlights cuts into the eyes. The truck rushes and slightly pulls over to the side of the road. The dog does not have time to come to his senses, as the car takes the animal out of the way. A hard thud of a small body against iron and the dog flies off into a ditch. Burning pain pierces the defenseless body. The truck is carried away, leaving the dog lying on the snow, highlighting it only with droplets of blood. Paws are not felt. As soon as the dog starts to rise, pain shoots through the spine, and she falls back into her snowy grave. No one sees her. Cars are passing, only tears are rolling from kind black eyes. She lay awake for about 10 hours. She was hurt and cold. The noise mixed in her head, her strength left her, and she fell asleep. The day before the new year, Peter was driving along the same highway, home with a bunch of gifts, when he decided to stop to check if he had forgotten his wallet at the mall, and while rummaging in his bag, he noticed something strange in the ditch and decided to check just in case. It turned out to be an animal. It was slightly dusted with snow and did not seem to show signs of life. It was unclear what it was doing here, quite far from civilization. The next minute, he saw the blood and realized that the animal had been hit. I checked. The dog was still alive, breathing heavily. But did not react to movements and touches, which means it was very cold. He couldn't leave her. Carefully picking her up in his arms, Peter carried Bonya into the car and immediately rushed to the nearest veterinary clinic. the dog warmed up a little on the way and began to whine very softly, as if telling about everything that had happened to her. The man only unconsciously calmed the poor animal. "Everything will be fine soon." At the veterinary clinic, everyone was surprised. After the examination they said that the dog had been in this condition for at least 3 days. This horrified everyone, and it was necessary to make a decision, to put her to sleep or fight for her. During this short time, Peter became very fond of her and decided that this was his New Year's gift. The family agreed and they began to save the poor thing. The New Year was celebrated in the hospital. Without leaving Bonya for a minute, time passed. She was slowly recovering and was discharged. 6 months later, Bonya was having fun frolicking in her new loving family, which saved her from certain death. Everything is going well and now there is a replenishment in the family. A baby appears at home. The dog, like a second mother, is always nearby and tries to climb everywhere and help. On a quiet, moonlit night, the whole house was sleeping sweetly. The baby was in a separate room. Suddenly the dog felt something and woke up. This time, the child got tangled in a blanket and began to suffocate. He couldn't untangle himself in any way due to his age and he was practically inaudible. The kid struggles, but nothing works out. In a panic confuses himself even more. Bonya felt it and rushed into her parents' room barking wildly. The uncomprehending adults were in no hurry to get up. Then the dog tried to lift mom up by her night pajamas. When the adults finally get up, the dog sits at the boy's door and barks wildly. Terrified parents rush into the room to the baby. The child could no longer scream. His mother quickly untangled him and helped him catch his breath. The dog stopped barking, but still worried. He couldn't find a place for himself. The father called an ambulance and after a while the doctors examined the child. There were no serious injuries and there was no need to worry. After the doctors leave, Bonya calms down and sits down next to the baby, putting his muzzle next to him. Looking at this picture, my father could not hold back his tears. That's how the life he once saved the most valuable person in his life. Dear viewers, if you liked this story, be sure to put your finger up and share this story with your friends. If this is your first time on this channel and you haven't subscribed to it yet, I recommend subscribing right now so you don't miss another exciting story.